Hey guys, we're here at Blueberry Hill. So here we are. This is July 20th to the 23rd. Angie and I started doing the window installs. Started with the smallest one we could, just to make sure we're kind of getting it right. Anyway, it turned out to be pretty good. We all the frames I made they're ½ inch oversized for a rough opening for the windows, and I made sure all of them were mostly level to the 99.9 percentile maybe. But anyway, all the windows kind of sat in. We put plastic shims on the bottom. I didn't show you that, but there's 2 plastic shims to raise it 1/4 inch off the frame on the bottom. So we have pretty much a 1/4 inch reveal all the way around the windows. And you can see Angie's doing the holding there. I'm trying to screw the windows down with extruded aluminum mounts, and it seemed to work pretty good. The whole process was basically Angie and I lifted the windows in place, and then I drilled and screwed self-tapping screws into the metal frames. You can see the little silver mounts around the window. Those are the extruded aluminum mounts. They slide up and down in the windows. They're very handy. The only thing we had to do is reverse orientation, so the inset was different. We're trying to make the windows kind of go a little further out in the frame, so we have roughly a 1/4 inch, it's a ½ inch actually, from the outside of the window frame, the steel frame you saw me put in the prior video, to where the windows actually are. And then we're going to come back in and build 2x construction walls on the inside, and all the trimmings and all that fun stuff. Here's a detail of me flipping the one of the aluminum mounts around. We had to do that for every window. None of them were in the right orientation. I'm not sure I had to tell them that or what, but they came delivered with the reveal was going to be different. So we basically flipped the mounts, and everything worked out just fine. The self-tapping screws I'm using are little 5/8 inch self-tappers. They're pretty stout. I do pre-drill everything. I don't just whack them in there with the self-tapping. I actually drill the holes and then let the self-tapping work. These are the one you see us doing right now. It's a 3x6. We basically just lean it back a little bit, and they're not too heavy, but they're not too light either. But we managed to do 10 that day, and she was always there holding it, and I made her not look up while I'm drilling holes in the metal, so you get the shavings in your eyeballs. Not a good thing. So anyway, it all worked out pretty good. We were pretty proud of ourselves doing 10 windows in that day. So here you see us, I don't want to bore you guys, but this is a rinse and repeat kind of process. Once we reverse all the mounts on the windows, we basically just pick them up, slide them in from the bottom out. This particular one, I think I messed up on my side. The shim fell out, so we had to check it, and then I went underneath there and pried it up a little bit to make it all square, but or level, and off we went. But anyway, we did, like I said, we did 10 of these. Pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to put the shims in. Just bang them in, slide them. The shims are, I believe, 8 inches long, and we put them together so they form a 1/4 inch thick offset for the window. There you go. So we didn't, just to make things quicker for us mounting them, we only put 4 screws in for all the windows. The ones on the sides tended to slide, so we actually taped them up, and we mounted them basically just to get the windows in place. And then I came around later the next day and screwed the rest of the screws in. And there's of course our dog doing, inspecting our work. So April 21st, Mark came over to help me out. He was actually an excellent help. He's kind of a smarty guy. He does construction here and there, and we kind of just jived in putting all the windows in. We were very surprised we did a total of 20 windows, and we just kept moving around and from one room to the next. You see me moving some of the shims. So the windows depending on what they were. If they were a movable window, they were actually, these mounts were a little bit looser. If they were a fixed window, like this one, fixed casement, some of the extruded aluminum, you had to use a dead blow hammer just to move them around, and then the screwdriver to pry them out of their recess and then snap them back in. So that was pretty much the hard part. And then Mark and I basically just leaned it over, slid the window in place, he held it, and then I screwed it in. Again, just putting 4 screws in there just to hold it. And then I finish that up the next day. So this window's these are a little bit heavy. These are the 4x6. They're not like crazy heavy, but they're definitely heavy on the heavy side. And as you can tell, windows don't have handles on them, so that's the fun part with that. So we did pretty good though. They're not overly hard to put in, but they're not what I'd call easy and light. So it was kind of, you can tell we're wearing sweaters. It was kind of chilly that day. So interesting weather phenomenon going on. So we put the shims in place, and then we basically just slide it in. Easy peasy. Then I hop on the ladder, put 1 screw in. I check the level again. Didn't have to do a darn thing because the frames are level in the container. And these are all sealed frames at this point. There's a couple around the containers I didn't seal. I'm going to do those later. I believe I show that in the video, but I catch up doing those. And by the 24th, 25th, we have pretty much all the windows done on the very first floor, except for the high one in the living room, which we'll show you at some point in time. It's almost like a second floor window, and it happens to be a 4x6. Yay! Nice and heavy, and 12 feet off the ground. That'll be fun. So Mark and I were moving pretty good. This is the second 4x6 window. I'm probably going to cut it short. You get the idea. It's basically a rinse and repeat on these things, and since we have 43 windows, it's going to take a little while. I believe we have 5 upstairs, and the rest are downstairs, minus the one on the living room wall, which is pretty much on the second floor anyway. But I'll see what I can cut out so you're not bored. But here you see me prying on the extruded aluminum. A little better view here. And then either hammer it in or snap it in with the screwdriver. It seems to work pretty good. So Mark and I kind of jived on how the windows went in. Pretty straightforward. These ones are the heavy jobs, so it took us a little while, but we got it in there. Once the shims are in place, it snaps in good. I'll check level, makes no difference, and then I'll screw it down. So onwards and more. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you guys. So this is pretty much went on for the whole day, and then we came back a few days later to finish up a few windows. I'll show you those as well, but I'm not going to bore you with the 40 window install here. Yeah, but I'll show you this. I mean, the wife came home, and then the dogs were doing inspections while Mark and I were working on the master bedroom windows. We did them kind of in series where we had them piled in the living room wall, and whatever window kind of came up, we kind of put it in place. So, because they're not too much fun moving around because there's too many of them, so we just grabbed them and we figured out where they went and put them in. Yay! There you go. Snap, crackle, pop. Put them in. Yay. Alright. This is probably the last one I'm going to show you guys like this. Then we're going to hop into the next phase. I do have to show you this though. These are cool windows. They're fixed casements as well as ones that work. And the ones that are open pretty much 90 degrees from the wall. So that's pretty cool. Should let a lot of air in. And we have them in strategic locations. The majority of the windows are fixed. So here we switched over. We kind of stopped filming the rest of the windows. These are the ones that were more of a challenge because they're on the living room wall, kind of the second floor. It's above the roof in the front. and Mark and I basically moved the scaffold around, and we preset all the mounts on the ground, heaved them up, snapped them in, and threw the screws in there, and we were done. So it went pretty well. So here I'm finishing up the two windows that I forgot to actually seal the other day, and then I had to prime them and paint them. So I'm going to seal them right now with this R-Guard stuff. It's called fast flashing. It works very good. The gun is it's a sausage gun, obviously, and you basically cut it the same way you would a normal silicone caulking gun, and then I use a popsicle stick to smoothen it out on the outside of the frame. And this is liquid flashing. This is not caulking. Different product. This kind of spreads out, fills gaps, and it's pretty say not liquidy, but it sticks to everything. It looks kind of like silicone, but it is not. It's a poly some product and a urethane, so it's waterproof, flexible, and it's a replacement for tape. So works great. So after doing those two windows, I went around and finished self-tapping screws around all the windows. Took about an hour and a half. And then in a few seconds you'll see me start the spray foam process. And we're using, so now to the spray foam around the window frame. So this is probably going to put about an inch and a quarter of foam around the window frames to the steel frames we put in. The Pro version comes with a gun that you can dispense as much foam as you need. This is my first window, so I'm just getting used to it. I actually turned it down pretty good, so I actually put 3 layers of foam together usually. Do a first one to hit the outside frame part, and then I do 2 fillers, one to go on the inside of the frame of the window, and then the other one to the frame of the outside of the window. It's hard to see. I actually tweaked the GoPro camera a couple days later for low light, and I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't do low light at this point. It's because my frame rate was a little bit too low, so I increased that, and you'll see a better video coming out in probably next couple of clips here. But anyway, this foam starter, you can see it works pretty good. You just jam it into every orifice you can, and you move smoothly, and it dispenses extremely well. And it lasts, I can do a can roughly 2 windows, 2.5 windows, so it's pretty impressive. And this is, again, this is a polyurethane foam, closed cell, so should do the trick. This is phase 1 of the weatherproofing, as well as a little bit of a structural. This thing glues everything together. You get it on something, it does not want to come off. So the foaming, it takes a little while. It goes pretty quick, but at the same time, it's not as quick as, you know, just slap it and go. I was trying to be nice and tidy so I don't get too much puking out the outside of the house. There's definitely stuff flowing out, which we just cut off. You'll see that later when we do the silicone to the frame. And I'm going to use kind of a commercial-based setup that I'm watching on YouTube. But anyway, spray foam, you can see you can get the tip in there pretty good, and just squeeze and go, and just move along nice and slow. I do multiple trips with the spray gun, as you can see, and that fills in. There's several what do you call it, little frame sections in the window. I'm trying to go to one of the main sections that's probably like in the middle of the glass area. Alright, before I can continue on the this is the apartment, and I had to when I sealed it, you saw that a little bit ago. Now I'm trying to paint it and get ready for the window install. So I'm painting it, and then later on in the day, Angie and I put the windows in. Pretty straightforward. These are 3x6, so we can handle those pretty good. Anyway, I just use a roller, you know, throwaway kind of stuff. It went pretty easy. I'm using a enamel, oil-based, of course. I personally kind of dislike water-based products because they just don't perform the same and are not as easy to use. So back to spray foam. Here's what I'm trying to do, a little more of a detail shot so you can see what I'm doing. You can see I'm doing several trips. You can see the mounts. I'm trying to squirt upwards into it, and then later on when we do the silicone, you'll see that I actually put quite a bit of silicone where the brackets are from the outside, so no hope of water getting in there at all. And plus the silicone is a kind of a glue anyway, isn't it? So it should hold everything pretty good. So April 23rd, Angie and I decided to put the windows in the apartment. It's kind of a bad weather day, so I stopped doing the foaming because the frames were getting wet and I didn't want to chance any kind of adhesion problems. So anyway, we gave up on that and we turned to this. We were kind of waiting on a storm to hit. We ended up getting 2.5 inches of rain that day in a couple hours, so we'll show you some of that in a few minutes here. But pretty easy peasy. These are 3x6. The one Angie's holding opened, and the one on the right of me, we're going to put it in. That's a fixed one. So we'll show you the rain through the window Angie's got in her hands right there. Anyway, pretty straightforward. Here you see a little bit of work we do. We flip the windows over to flip the mounts, and then we just throw it in there. Pretty good. And I did change the GoPro, I might have mentioned that earlier, to a more low light setting, so this is a higher frame rate. It seems to work a little better. Oh, and here's the rain. So tons of water coming off of this roof. This is a full roof, right, slanted from the beginning of the containers, about 44 feet of roof, double wide, and a lot of water. And here I'm trying to finish up the garage frame. Nothing fancy here. It's a little different mount. Screws to the wood, of course, not weld. And prime it and get it ready for paint, and then put it in a few days. So on the 24th, we continued on the last couple of windows on the first floor. These are the living room wall windows, 4x6, and right beside it will be a 3x6. You know, I didn't show you everything because obviously it's a rinse and repeat process. Bit of trimming, everything fit nice and tight. And we're putting it in. This is the 2-story wall pretty much that I put together through panels months ago, and you just weld her up and make it work. Angie comes in a few minutes later to prime the frame while I continue on the second hole, and we're kind of rushing a little bit because we're trying to get it all done before we went somewhere. And anyway, another window goes above the 4x6 on the left, close to like a second floor kind of setting, so that'll be fun when we get there. I'm sure we'll show you that because haven't quite figured out how to get the window up there yet. We'll see. So this is a wrap up on this video. I hope you got something out of it. We're getting close to finishing pretty much everything on the first floor. I did put the window in the garage. I'll probably show you that when I'm caulking it or something like that. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Ciao.